Hey friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to go over the Numenera WUBRG Campaign 1, and we're continuing. And so Wentworth has successfully gotten his 40 townies, and actually, specifically, he started out with like a tactical team, and many people stayed in Pine Bluff. But as he's been going, he's been picking up townies and students, right? So he has close to 60 people with him now, and they're trying to travel stealthily, right? So at this point, since they have 60, they actually encounter an alpha, right? So an alpha is the biggest. So this is a Skelly, a Tsunax alien inside of a large power armor suit. It has an Atmo helmet, which allows the Skelly to breathe the air of Io, which is exactly the same air as Earth, since Io has been, the moon of Jupiter has been terraformed. And then it has a railgun, a laser cannon, and a rocket pod, right? And a Ripper sword. So this thing is very dangerous, right? And so they encounter it. And one of the things I thought was really interesting is we've kind of so the gold player is playing Blackout in the future, who is now, we know his name at first was Wentworth, and basically we get to this point where we realize that he is and then in the future he is a clever Jack who moves like a cat, so he's really good at avoiding combat. Now his character, who is still very fast and agile, it is surrounded with people who are trying to protect him, right? So one of the things I thought was interesting is I'm always trying to press up on, the player characters and say, hey, you're in danger. But the reality is the only danger in these scenes was which students and which townies are going to be lost. And so the Jugger attacks them. It uses this rail gun. It shoots right through some, and the rail gun, what it does is it shoots in a line, and it will do full damage to anything it hits within far range, right? It just like go through multiple targets, right? And so first round, 4 townies and 2 students die. And then second round of combat, they're trying to get in, and Alice says, hey, this thing, they actually shoot it with a rocket pod. They shoot it with these machine guns they have from Ellie's regulars. And Wentworth is actually able to hit it hard and actually do quite a bit of damage to it, but it's still up. And then Alice says, hey, going forward on all these Juggers and on all these alphas, we need to take the Atmo helmet out, right? Because that's the only really vulnerable part, right? And so then Wentworth actually takes a rifle and just shoots right through the Atmo helmet, shuts down the alpha right there, right? But before that happened, there was one more round where the alpha was able to take out 8 townies and 6 additional students. And so, and I could have done a better job of this, is like, having the death scenes and like, hey, I'm losing, Farmer Marley here, and, so forth. But at this point, they've gone to their next location, and there are 5 locations to go to, right? And I think this was like a grain seed depot that they made it to. And each one, they're making this roll, right? And since they're learning more about them, I was like, okay, before you had to roll a 1d8, and if you had 1 through 5, you hit some type of Skelly or their, equipment, and then 6, 7, and 8, you're safe. But I increased that to a D10, and because they're becoming more safe. So on the next round, to go to the 3rd position, they actually made it successfully, and they were, and also each time they travel, they're picking up more townies and more students that are hiding in holes, hiding behind trees. They're finding them half alive and then nursing them back to health, right? And one of the things I wanted to express on you is Bearcats, what I'm using to run this, is really very specifically built to model Wolverines. And Bearcats is really just a play on Wolverines. And so this really feels like the original, I think it's 1985 movie Wolverines. And I'm sure you'll correct me in the comments if I'm wrong there. My friend. And so I thought that was really interesting. So then they get past the alpha. That was at the 3rd location. Finally, they are able to sneak successfully to the 4th location. And then finally, they make it to the emergency station where they are going to send all of Alice's notes digitally. And so there's a relay station on the ground that sends to a satellite in LIO orbit. That satellite will then kick that message off to Earth. Now they have to do some configuration issues because right now it's configured to only send every 3 months, right? And they need it to send immediately, right? So they actually finally arrive at the emergency station, and again they made their rolls and they didn't need to do any combat. And I'll tell you what happened at the emergency station in our next video. Thank you so much for letting me share this awesome campaign with you. Awesome because of the gold player, awesome because of Ingrid Bernal, Hagrid Farinale, amazing work with Runehammer Games and all the products they've made. Awesome because of Monty Cook's Numenera system, and awesome because all of that is marinated in Gary Gygax's Dungeons & Dragons. Thanks again for letting me share it with you. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.